right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, Cedric McMillan, now under 9 weeks away from taking the stage at the Arnold Classic in March of 2022, which is now this year. This is the first video I've made on this channel in the new year, so happy New Year's to everybody. And I wanted to start out this video with the Cedric McMillan physique update that he posted today, because the physique updates from Cedric are so rare and also just so few and far between. He really doesn't post very many physique updates, so when he does, I think it's certainly newsworthy. He says in the caption, "A lot of us pros don't post as we start prep and the progress. I think it's because we don't want to deal with being overanalyzed by some dude sitting on a toilet scrolling Instagram. My anxiety is so bad I get nervous about even sending progress pics to a coach, or even just recording and looking at myself. I've done whole preps without making pics or videos. So this is an attempt to overcome a challenge. So here, critics, enjoy this meal. And remember, as we get ready for the Arnold Sports, we need to let us know how good or bad. We need you to let us know how good or bad you think we are." So with a caption like that, I think we almost had to include it in a video because that was so clearly directed at people like myself. But I gotta say, when I saw Cedric post this physique update, I was happy to see that he posted a physique update, because we know he had been dealing with a pretty substantial amount of stress and anxiety following that Legion Sports Fest show. Again, if you guys don't remember, towards the end of the season last year, he competed in Legion Sports Festival. He wasn't in the first call out, so he went to prejudging and did not come back for the night show. Then like a week or two later, he was scheduled to compete at the KO Pro Show in Egypt, and he no-showed there. So a lot of us, including myself, were kind of worried about Cedric from a health standpoint, and B, a mental standpoint. Where was he, mentally after those two shows? So when I saw a physique update from Cedric today on Instagram, I was very surprised, but I was very happy to see that he was, confident enough to really own the fact that he's coming back. Again, he is doing the Arnold Classic in March. He is one of 3 former Arnold Classic champions that will be competing at that Arnold. You've got Brandon Curry, you've got Cedric McMillan, and William Bonac, all past Arnold Classic champions. So that was the first thought when I saw Cedric post the video. I was happy to see that he was confident enough to post it. I'm happy to see that he's doing the Arnold and following through with that prep. The second thought, the critic part of this, which I'm sure was the part of the caption that he was directing this at, my second thought was his legs. I think his legs look a little bit undersized here compared to what we've seen from Cedric in the past. Really, his legs, specifically his quads, were really like a strong point for him. But really here, that was the big thing that jumped out to me. Upper body looks pretty on par for what we're typically used to seeing from Cedric in an off-season update like this. But the legs was really the thing that jumped out to me, as maybe lagging a little bit here. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below, because Cedric has had kind of a rocky past couple of years, a lot of ups and downs. Where do you guys see him landing in this year's Arnold Classic? Does he have a shot at winning another title? Being a former Arnold Classic champion, it automatically makes him one of the favorites in this lineup as far as odds of being able to win it this year. And I would like to see Cedric do well, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Because at the end of the day, every bodybuilding fan is a little bit of a critic themselves, and that's just kind of the nature of the sport. So let's hear your guys' critiques. And now a word from today's sponsors, DragonPharma Labs. Make sure you check out their YouTube channel. We are very grateful for them sponsoring us today, so make sure you guys give them a look.
When you reach your goals, you need to create newer, bigger goals. After one win, strive for another. After a second, strive for a third. We always want more. We are never satisfied, because for us, best is the standard.
All right, so thank you to DragonPharma Labs for that sponsorship. Now on to the next story. Hunter Labrada with some really impressive physique updates. The final physique updates of 2021. And Hunter is counting down the days until the next Mr. Olympia competition, where he will be looking to improve upon his placing from last year, the 2021 Olympia, of 4th place. A very impressive placing for Hunter, controversial to some. I know a lot of people, it has been one of the more discussed placings at the Olympia last year. But in this update, Hunter looking larger than life. And why shouldn't he? Because he has plenty of time, as you guys can see in that caption, 349 days to the Olympia, to prepare for the Olympia. And Hunter looks really pretty big in this update. And I think that's one of the things that Hunter needs a little bit, especially in some of these updates when his biggest rival, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, Nick Walker, the guy that took 5th at the Olympia, that's kind of what Nick is known for. Just big, round, full, freaky-looking bodybuilder. And in this update, the side chest and side tricep, this is an update from Hunter where I think Hunter looks like some of those characteristics that Nick Walker has. Round, full, his arms look gigantic, he looks bigger than ever. That crazy 3D look to his physique, and he's got all year to focus on this year's Olympia, because he already is qualified. And this is really another one that I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on, because I know, like I said, it was a controversial placing. A lot of people talking about Nick versus Hunter. Who do you prefer? Who do you not? So right now, let me know in the comments, who do you prefer, Nick or Hunter, and who did you prefer at the Olympia? But Nick Walker was the next story that I want to talk about here, because Nick Walker posted some physique updates of his own recently, right after Hunter Labrada's. There was this update along with a leg training video showing off his legs. He says, starting the year off right with some legs. We've got a big year ahead of us, time to make some drastic improvements. So Nick and Hunter both, like I said, I think they're really kind of neck and neck rivals. I think, that 4th and 5th place decision, my opinion on it, I think it could have been a coin toss between the two. Nick or Hunter in that 4th place spot, I think it was a coin toss. I think Nick is a phenomenal bodybuilder. He could have been 4th. I wouldn't have been mad at that. And Hunter in 4th, I'm not really mad at that either. But I think they're two very comparable bodybuilders. Here, I'll put their physique updates next to each other, even though Nick's is a front-on shot and Hunter's are a side shot. But the point of that is they both have the same amount of time to get ready for the Olympia. Neither of them need to worry about this year qualifying for the Olympia. They're both already on the 2022 qualified competitors list. We know that Nick is not defending his title at the Arnold Classic, so he doesn't have to worry about that. All these two guys have to worry about, and they're both really young bodybuilders, pretty early on in their pro careers, top-level Olympians. Like I said, very comparable, but all they have to worry about is getting ready for the Olympia this year. So it's going to be interesting to follow both of their physique updates and both their progress going into the Olympia, because like I said, they're just so similar. I think they're on such a really comparable playing ground that it could go either way. And the big question that's going to be answered this year, I think, is who moves up and who doesn't. I think one of these guys is going to move forward and one of these guys is not. I think only one of these new young guys this year will probably crack the top 3 at this year's Olympia. So one of these young guys is going to move up, and I think the other one will probably stay around the same placing. So it's a little bit of an arms race, no pun intended, to see who is going to be the first of this young crop of guys to crack into the top 3 at the Olympia. And that's what I want you guys to predict in the comment section below. So when I say Nick or Hunter, who do you prefer? Who will be the first to crack the top 3 at the Olympia, Nick or Hunter? Now, next up in the news, I think a very important message from a former 212 Olympia champ, Shaun Clarida, who recently made his transition over to men's open bodybuilding and won the Legion Sports Festival, by the way. He says, during this time, I also made sure to get my blood work done, as well as get my heart checked, EKG, calcium score, and I was happy to hear that all my levels, BP, cholesterol, organs, etc., all good, and my CT cardio score was 0, which, for those that don't know, is a perfect score, meaning there's no buildup, and a less than likely chance with no plaque of having a heart attack. And what he says at the end there, I think, is very important. He says, of course, getting this all done is always a scary thing, but knowing is always better than not knowing, because you may not have time to address any issues if it's too late. So I think it's a very important message coming from an Olympia champ. It's off season right now. A lot of bodybuilders have the downtime to do this. So if you're watching this and you're a pro bodybuilder, you're in your technically off season right now, you've got some downtime, go get checked out. Get your calcium score done. Get an echocardiogram. Get an EKG. Get some blood work done. Just make sure everything's good before you start your next prep. You can at least have a little bit of peace of mind, especially like what we've seen with the past year of bodybuilders passing away. I think this is a really important message, so I wanted to repeat that message here. Get checked up on. Pro bodybuilding is an extreme sport. It's an inherently dangerous sport. It's an inherently unhealthy sport because of what needs to be done to become a champion in the sport. I think a lot of people are in denial about that, but the sooner they accept it, they should just go get checked out. Everything is going to work out better if you know those numbers, if you get those tests done, if you know where you're at. You have a baseline. Just do it. And the final story that I have for you guys today, this is actually a little bit of an older story because technically it happened about a month ago. But for some reason, I'm just now seeing this. I'm just now seeing people report on this. A new bench press world record. I think it was done in a little bit of a quieter, lesser-known federation. And really, I hadn't seen anybody post about this. So Tiny Meeker, at the age of 50 years old, sets a brand new equipped bench press world record with 1,125 pounds or 510 kgs. Again, that was at 50 years old at an IPA National Powerlifting Championships in York, Pennsylvania. This was November 20th, 2021, competing in the 140 plus category, 140 kg plus. He weighed in at 145.2 kgs. That would mean that this bench press is 3.5 times his body weight. But the thing about this, and I'm always curious, we're talking about the discussions that you guys have in the comment section below. This is a discussion that I'm always curious to see. Equipped powerlifting versus raw powerlifting. What do you guys feel about the difference between the two? I know there's very opinionated people on either side of this argument. For those of you guys that don't know what equipped powerlifting is, because, you know, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that actually don't know that there is a powerlifting category where you are assisted, you are equipped, you wear an apparatus on your chest, a bench press shirt. That's basically an elastic material that helps you essentially from the, you know, lock out the bar. It kind of gives you a little bit of bounce off your chest. So that's equipped. Raw is nothing. It's just you benching the weight. This record was an equipped record. You guys can see in the video what he's wearing, the apparatus on his chest, on his arms. So I'll give you guys kind of my opinion on it. I think equipped lifting, it's still very impressive. Obviously, they're still moving an amount of weight that another person, even with the same shirt or whatever, the same gear, would not be able to move. I mean, that's without question. It's still a very impressive amount of weight, still a very impressive lift. But my opinion is one of the reasons why I think powerlifting has a difficult time becoming more mainstream and attracting a larger audience is because of a lot of these kind of subcategories. Because like we saw with Julius Maddox, his 800-pound bench press attempt, he's a raw bench presser. We saw that widely publicized, a lot of coverage, a lot of almost really mainstream coverage on his attempts of 800 pounds. Then people look back and say, well, 800 pounds, how's that the world record? What about this guy here? Like we're talking about Tiny Meeker benching 1,100 plus pounds. That kind of stuff confuses the mainstream and the general public. And they're like, why is 800 pounds the world record, but here's a guy that just benched 1,100 pounds. It doesn't make sense to most people. And I think these other categories, to me, while I think they're very impressive, I think that's kind of something that's holding powerlifting back from gaining a wider audience. And that might be a controversial opinion because I know there's a lot of people that are huge fans of equipped lifting, and I'm a fan too. But I do think it muddies the waters a little bit. I'm sure there's probably people watching this video saying to themselves, well, 1,100 pounds, what about Julius Maddox in the 800-pound bench press? I thought that was going to be the biggest bench press of all time. It makes things a little bit more confusing, and this also exists in the deadlift and the squat. There's equipped deadlifting, equipped squatting, where they wear super suits. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did in fact enjoy it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, and make sure you hit that bell notification icon. I don't say this enough, so make sure you do it. As always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a great New Year's. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.